I recently got the all-new YT Jeffsy and I had a chance to ride it for a week down in Arizona, so I thought I would do a little video and give you my first impressions of this bike. Now, of course, the bike is not completely stock. I changed a few things for my personal preferences, as well as swapped over my Industry 9 wheels from my old Jeffsy, and that's probably the only thing here that is going to make a difference to the ride itself. I've also got the MRP chain guide and bash guard. I would definitely recommend that. And the Fox fender is a nice little touch, keeps some of that dust off of the down tube and off of your ankles. I've been riding my 2017 YT Jeffsy for the past 6 years, and obviously I've loved it since I've kept it for that long. But there was one thing I was thinking about before getting this new Jeffsy, before they even announced the new Jeffsy, and that was getting a bike with a slacker head tube angle. So the all new Jeffsy now has a 65-degree head tube angle, which is the same as what the Capra had back in 2017. It's a 2-degree difference from the 2017 Jeffsy, and it makes a pretty significant difference. You notice this right away when you get on the bike because that front wheel is so much further out in front of the handlebars. But as far as the seating position goes, it feels exactly the same. So I was comfortable right away. As far as my hands, the seat, and the pedals, I feel like it's the exact same bike. So to compensate for the slacker head tube angle, they have steepened the seat tube angle, and that's supposed to make climbing easier. And as far as my impression on the climb, I didn't really think it was any more difficult. Obviously, I had not ridden for a couple of months with it being cold and snowing here in Idaho. So there was a bit of a struggle just with the cardio aspect of it, but I didn't feel like it was any more of a struggle than it typically is for this trip that I take every year. And by the end of the week, I felt like I was climbing pretty good. The only real difference I noticed is if you're going up a little step up like a rock or something like that, it is harder to get that front wheel up onto the top of that rock just because of the fact that it's further out in front. But overall, that's a pretty small trade-off for the advantages that you have on the downhill with this slacker head tube angle. And I definitely noticed that in riding in Phoenix. It's a lot of rocky terrain, kind of rough. And that slacker head tube angle definitely makes a difference to make the ride a little more comfortable. And the fork is just more efficient going over those little bumps, and so it's smoother and easier to go faster through those sections. That also makes it a lot more comfortable on drops and little step downs. Some of those smaller step downs that used to feel a little more significant on the old Jeffsy, on this one, you hardly even notice that they're there. Initially, I found cornering to be just a little bit more difficult because you have that longer wheelbase, but it really just takes a little getting used to, and by the end of the week, I felt like I was cornering just as well as I could on the old Jeffsy in spite of the longer wheelbase. It just takes a little bit different input to go into those corners. That being said, Phoenix has got a lot of kitty litter, what they call it, a lot of loose gravel and sand, and I never once had any issues with the wheels sliding out. Of course, once we hit summer and I can ride the trails that I ride all the time, I'll have a much better idea of whether I'm faster on this bike or not, as I'll be able to see how my Strava times compare to the times that I've set on the old Jeffsy. So I will come back and make another video at some point in the summer, probably towards the end of the summer, to do a more long-term review and let you know how things are going and how I feel about the bike. But overall, my first impressions are I love it. It's basically just a better version of my old bike, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun to ride this summer. Looking forward to a little bit more traveling and going to more bike parks again. I think this will be a lot better at the bike park. It's obviously not a downhill bike and nowhere close to that, but it's nice for me to have a bike that kind of does it all, and this really is that bike now, an all mountain bike. If you are considering getting the all new Jeffsy, which I imagine you probably are if you clicked on this video, let me know what your thoughts are on it, and if you have any additional questions, leave them down below in the comments. Thanks for watching. See you next time.